What's up, guys? Another hot day in Lusaka. Today I just have a video for you guys where we're doing just a bit of an update on the E30 that we're working on. Show you something interesting, but at the end of the video I also want you guys to kind of listen to a conversation that we were having with some good friends of ours, Chilu and Sampa, about this spin business that we do, and how people are always chasing numbers, but sometimes we don't really get it right. And then also Kondwani has some interesting questions about dyno and tuning and stuff like that. So yeah, let me just quickly show you guys what we're doing with the E30, and then let's listen into what the guys were saying about those different aspects of spinning. Okay guys, we're out here in the Kamwala area working on the suspension of the car, basically just lowering the car. But I wanted to show you guys another modification that we're going to be doing, also just explain how it works. So I'm sure some of you guys have seen on the spin cars these two silver tanks. Some of them will just have one, but others will have a twin setup, like what we're going to do on this car. So basically what you're looking at here, this square thing here is called a fuel cell. This basically replaces the stock fuel tank. I know you saw in the other videos and the pictures, we removed the standard fuel tank that normally goes underneath the car to accommodate our side exhaust that we have right here. So that will be replaced by this tank right here, and basically it's just a fuel tank. That's all that it is. It's a fuel cell, but yeah, essentially it's going to be holding the fuel that will be powering the car. And then what is a little bit more interesting is what's right there. That is called a surge tank. And basically what this one does, let me see if I can get it a bit closer. This one basically has a provision for putting a fuel pump on the inside. So our fuel pump will actually sit inside this, and then you've got these terminals that are here that will provide power to the fuel pump, and then all the fuel that the car is actually using will be drawn from here. And what this surge tank does is basically it makes sure that the fuel pump is always surrounded by fuel. So let's see if I can open this with one hand. Yeah, okay, we've got it open. So if you look inside, let's see if I can get an angle where the sun kind of shines in there. If you look inside, it's got a provision where you can actually put two fuel pumps on this, and then as it's being fed by these lines at the bottom, let me put it down so that I show you guys properly how it's going to be fed. Right, so from our fuel cell, which will have all the fuel loaded in here, you're going to have these lines that will be feeding the fuel in there, and then the fuel pumps will be seated in there, pushing facing down, of course, drawing the fuel from the bottom. And then what this allows is that fuel is always going to be full inside here, coming from the fuel cell. Now, why is that important? When you're spinning, the car is usually moving sideways, and the last thing that you want is a situation where your fuel pumps end up having no fuel around them, because when you're spinning and you go sideways, the fuel can lean on one side, obviously, because it's a liquid, so it will be moving from side to side. So if you have that situation, it can be very bad for your engine running lean. So what you end up needing is a setup like this. That's why you see a lot of the spin cars will go and get a fuel cell and a surge tank, or some fuel cells will come with a surge tank built in, and they'll be slightly bigger than this to be able to accommodate more fuel and also the pump sitting inside. So next time you see these silver pieces in the boot, you know what they do. It's just to make sure that the fuel pump is always running with fuel. So even if the car is going sideways, it doesn't get starved because the fuel is leaning on one side, which is what would happen if you had the big standard fuel tank at the bottom. Yes, it can hold more fuel, but that fuel is useless if it goes to lean on one side and your fuel pump is on the other side, and then you end up getting no fuel to the engine. Okay guys, so just for context, as we get into this part of the video, you know that with this car, initially we were supposed to get a VQ into this car, which would have put us pretty much at the standard power of 300 horsepower. So right now, since we've got 2.5 liter engine in it, this is I believe an M52, we're trying to see how much power we need to actually get Kondwani to be able to play with this thing and actually perform well. So yeah, that's where the conversation is coming from. We're talking about tuning and how some people believe that just by going to get a dyno tune, you can get more power from the car. So listen to how Chilu explains things very well on how you should go about dyno tuning.
We are chasing numbers and not
Skill.
practical use. No, never mind skill. You need to be.
What horsepower are we going for?
On his M50.
I'm sure mine is doing 150.
RPM.
Is that what you
So
want?
what is
I want
Kai,
to-
gear 3 is considered you've got power. So for gear 3 you need how much? Over 200.
Over 200.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
In
assume
a BMW
Yes.
or generally.
this is 100,
Spin car.
A spin
this
car.
is 200, right?
Mhm.
If you have something like that, how much horsepower does this car make?
250.
250-ish, right?
Yes. Mhm.
How much horsepower does this car make? To be
250.
Which one will make more smoke?
I think the second one you drew.
how much horsepower does this car make?
200.
200.
Mhm.
Which of these cars is going to be faster?
The second one that stays on the 200 longer.
It's
I think-
most likely going to
Oh,
be this one.
See.
Either between this one or that one.
Mm.
So both of these are 200, 250 horsepower cars.
Yeah.
But one is going to be way faster because it stays within its power band much longer. It goes into its power band and it stays there much longer.
And what's making
So,
it stay
you
within
have-
its power much longer?
What determines how far the car is, how powerful or how fast the car is area under this curve.
Yes.
Not your peak number.
Which is what we get from the dyno.
So
This is what you guys are fussing about.
Yes. So it's a tool that allows you to know how much you are making and how much.
They've seen those races. Those is it OZ? What's that guy?
OG.
OG races.
OG, yeah.
You've seen a weaker car beating a more horsepower car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So to answer your question,
It's not just about the big
dyno
figure.
is a tool that helps us to be able to determine the results of our input, our work on the car. But it's not going to particularly make you faster. or slower.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's very difficult to compare two dyno sheets or two results of dyno runs unless all the variables are equal, and it's almost impossible. So they help us to just be able to determine, okay, this is what we did, this is our baseline, and this is the result. That's how much power we made. Yeah.
James had mentioned that the drivetrain also contributes to power.
Because he was telling us to say he's got a 2.5 diff, 2.5 gearbox,
Yes.
obviously more powerful.
Yes.
So he was telling me to say, like, with my spin car, if I put the 380, because I've got a 318 diff,
Yeah.
if I put a 318 diff, currently I have a 220 gearbox, I don't know if it's between a 2 liter gearbox or 2.5. He was saying there will also be, it's good power, but if I put the right,
The right
give the right
combination.
Gear ratios.
So
Yeah,
let
ratios.
me also explain that ratios. You have, say you have, I have 2 gears here. Okay. This is a 4.1 and, or rather this is the final diff. Okay. And this is a 3.2, right? So depending on your objectives when you're building your car, you'll be able to decide, and as well as your gearbox is gearing, as well as how much RPM you want to run, the type of engine you have, is it diesel, is it petrol, what does it rev up to, and so on and so forth. If, for instance, Kondwani puts a 3.2 on his car, he will be able to have more rotations because this diff spins more times for one rotation of the crankshaft.
Ah, okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Rather than the 4.
This will spin less times. Okay? So it will have more torque.
So when they say longer gear ratios, they're
But-
talking about something like the 3.2, right?
Lower
Long.
top speed. Okay? This 3.2 is gonna have less torque, but more
Top
top
speed.
speed. So you need to be able to calculate and find that perfect combination
Yes.
when you are building your car, depending on what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So if, for me, who wants top speed, I need to try to get a small one. But if I go smaller, I'm gonna lose torque, and so I'm gonna lose speed also. So now it's finding that
Balance.
That balance.
Ah, okay. So in relation to the dyno,
So James,
can you get?
James was right.
Ah, okay. Right. So you can get more power. All right.
You get the point. So my tune needs to be specific to my car.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So this thing of swapping dictators is actually dangerous, huh?
it is.
If you're just going to get settings from another car, assuming that you have the same.
I remember someone at night, I won't mention names.
Wow.
He got James settings and I think the engine blew.
Yeah, but you see, it might
After,
not
yes.
necessarily
But
be
yes.
just because
Of the dictator.
the dictator. There might have been some other mechanical.
But you see,
components.
if James was running a map for is it ethanol, methanol?
Mm.
Yes, so you can't use that map on a car that's running normal.
Or pump fuel.
So that was another mistake the person made.
No, you can't. Because obviously the target AFRs for ethanol or methanol, whatever you're running, are different from pump. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we learn every day, I guess.
We do. When is Manda coming back?
Yeah.
Hey, it's not things.
Life is not easy, my guy.
So I hope that you guys understood from what Chilu was explaining. It's not just about the peak power that your car made when you are dyno tuning. It's got a lot to do with what's under the graph and how long the car can stay on that power. So even if you take your car to South Africa and you do a dyno tune, it's not just about, oh, my car made 240 horsepower, 202 or whatever it is. It's also about how long the car can stay on that power. But we also spoke about the gear ratios issue. So your gear ratios can also make it that your car doesn't spin well. There are a lot of cars that we've heard about going to SA and stuff like that. They get dyno tuned and all this other stuff done, but you find that their drivetrain setup, which is the gear ratios and stuff, is not on point. So then your car also doesn't end up performing the way that you are expecting it. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this video. And I'll see you guys on the next one.